Yo, today is August 25th. It's currently about 3 p.m. in the afternoon, and I'm just waking up. For context, I'm a trader, so I have my sleep schedule and everything just centered around trading. So oftentimes I like to stay up until about 4 in the morning, go to sleep, wake up anywhere from noon to 3, especially on my days off. But today's gonna be a good day. So, number one, my apartment is very dirty. I need to clean. Little homie tried to clean, but he got stuck. So I need to make sure he gets home, which is somewhere over there. But I want to try to clean this entire apartment, get that done today. Normally today's my Sabbath, but I'm going to talk more about it throughout the day. But I feel like I've lost myself a little bit. Kind of like I've been saying, I feel like I've lost the plot. So I want to restructure even things with these videos. I want to slow down, try to focus on a little bit more about myself, a little bit more of my story, a little bit more of telling a story than just primarily focusing on trading. I'm still going to talk about trading. I'm passionate and I love trading, but there are other things that I do. So it's a beautiful day, very, very beautiful day, and we're gonna make this apartment even more beautiful. But yeah, we'll see what happens. While other me is cleaning, I just want to take a moment to talk about a couple of things. So over the last couple of weeks, I have had this deep feeling inside of my heart that I've honestly kind of lost the plot, and I've kind of lost the heart behind the vision of which I set back in the first video that I made. In that video, I described how I had this crazy ambitious goal that the Lord has given me. I've talked about how he's blessed me with the skill to be a successful, consistent, profitable day trader, and how I wanted to be intentional about following Lord, about documenting the entire journey and showing the highs, showing the lows, and describing and showing what it means to be an obsessive opportunist, which in that video I talked about, that was a name that the Lord gave me, I want to say at the very beginning of my trading journey. And so over the last couple of weeks, I've felt like I've really lost, quote unquote, lost the plot. I've lost the vision, and more so I've lost the very heart of which I set to project and to show with these videos. And so I got in this habit of, okay, let me just be intentional about, let me record every time I go on my laptop or anytime I sit down to take a trade or whatever it may be. Let me just record myself. Let me record my thoughts and talk about that, show the charts, show the charts, show the charts, which is good and married, but I've lost the heart of my personal journey and who I am and who I'm becoming. I haven't been intentional about documenting anything else, if I'm being completely honest. And every now and again, God has been good and he's convicted me and interceded and been like, hey, like sit down and record this. Like I did a couple weeks ago, I sat down and I recorded how I had really fallen into sin and temptation, how frustrating that kind of was for me. And I've documented that, but I haven't been intentional about doing that on a day-to-day basis, or more so just casting a vision for each video, each thing that I'm making. And I want to get back to that. I want to be very intentional about doing that. And so I just want to take a moment to really just sit down and say, I know for myself growing up, I struggled with receiving, I struggled with celebrating myself. And I was raised off of a, don't embarrass me. You aren't this until proven otherwise. You're mediocre until you prove yourself to be excellent. And you're not worthy of being celebrated in this way because this is the standard, this is expected of you. And so with doing things like this, I kind of hold this level of resentment towards myself and like, oh, you haven't achieved this, you haven't achieved anything yet because you haven't got a payout yet. Yes, you pass a prop firm challenge, but you haven't gotten a payout yet, and only the top 2 to 3% of traders are able to pass a prop firm challenge and get to the point of getting a payout. You're not at that point yet. This is expected of you. You've dedicated all this time to studying and trading and learning and progressing and doing all these different things, but you haven't crossed that threshold of quote unquote success as far as having the monetary gain yet. And so when it comes to recording and documenting, I've just had this almost, if I'm being honest, it's almost like heartless approach of just gonna record. This is what I'm doing. This is what it looks like. We'll see what happens. Praise God. It's all good. Lesson. It's very, I don't know if stoic's the right word, but like it's very heartless almost, I would feel like. And I want to change that. I want to slow down. I want to recast a brand new vision and try to be intentional about having fun with this, trying new things, doing new things, telling more of who I am. And so I wanted to start with even in my trading in particular. So last year, God really interceded during my 6 month journey and was like, hey, you don't need to study more. You don't need to learn anything else. Like, just trust in me, sit down, rest, and lean not on your own understanding, but lean on mine, and I got you. And when that happened, I received that. I was like, okay, well, I don't need to learn. I received it very literal. It's like, okay, I don't need to learn anymore. I don't need to study. So I try to be intentional about studying less and trying to spend more time with God, which to a degree was good. But then on the back end of it, I lost that because of my extreme. And I didn't pray. I wasn't intentional about praying, but I lost that. I lost the heart. I lost the fun. I lost the love that I had for trading, and when I sit down and I listen to people that I look up to, like Swaggy C or Sean Lee or some of these other traders, like even like Q Banks, for example, they have this deep, awe-encompassing reverence for their skill and for their craft. And when I sit here and I think about it, it really makes me think about my love for Christ, and even and how I loved him, especially last year, and even how I feel like, and the same with my trading and the same with these videos, I've been lackluster, even in my depth of pursuing God. And I'm not just talking about on a surface level, like I'm a believer, I am a follower of Christ. Like, no, I'm talking about like the awe of God, like the fear of the Lord, like how you're able to make distinctions, like, and not to go too biblical, but like in Genesis, in the Old Testament, they talked about how anytime they sinned, sorry, a dove just landed right here. Anytime they sinned, they had to make sacrifices. They had to go and kill a lamb or a bull or a dove, whatever it may be, which is crazy. There's a dove right there, and I said a dove. My bad, little guy. But they had to go and make these sacrifices. But then you hear David, in whom David is known as a man after God's own heart. And he says, Father God, you will only be pleased by a contrite heart, by a heart posture. He was so in love with God that the Lord revealed the things of himself, the intimate things of himself to David, so that David had a greater understanding of God than what most people knew him to be. The same way in a relationship, when you pursue a person, you learn the intimate things of them, the things that they like, the things that they don't like, the things you start to think about how they would respond if you did this or if you did that, instead of it just being surface, like 1, 2, 1, 2. And the same with trading, Swaggy and all these different people, they have a deep love for trading, and you can see their progression. You can see how with him, he started as a day trader, then he progressed into a swing trader, and now he's a positions trader. And shout out to Landon and Kristen, because they've been in the boot camp that he's doing right now. So they've been telling me a lot about his position trading, but like you can see how he's progressed, and you can see how powerful his words are. Like he can say something so casual, like GA is going to drop down to the 2.07500. As soon as it kisses that level, it's going to touch it and then go all the way up to the 2.15. That sounds real casual and real smooth, but his words aren't void of life. His words are full of life and full of experience, and it's full of intimacy because he spent time with that pair for years, almost a decade now. And so hearing these things, thinking about these things, I realized that I haven't been pursuing that. And that is simply something that makes my heart full. That is simply something that makes me excited and joyous. Like I said, it's something that I did last year for a 6-month journey when God interceded and was like, hey, you don't need to do this, or you don't need to study or learn more. He interceded and was like, hey, this is true. Like, I got you. During that time, I was spending so much time falling deeper and deeper and deeper in love with him. And it was amazing for me and my spirit, to the point where like I was reading a lot. I was doing things that I genuinely enjoyed, but I've gotten away from that. And I feel like, and I'm gonna keep saying it, but I feel like I've lost that life with just about everything that I do, from these videos to my reading to my trading. And so I wanna bring that back, and I wanna cast a new vision, which looks like this, trying out new things like this. I don't know how smooth or fluid this looks right now. I might be breaking the fourth wall talking about what I'm doing in the background. I really don't know, but I want to try new things. I want to like genuinely have fun and bring that joy out. And I want to communicate that and share this journey through these videos. Like I'm not just documenting my journey from going from 0 to 250K personal to just to document that. Like, no, I want to document how and why I am the obsessive opportunist, how and why I was able to become that. How and why you as a viewer are able to replicate the same heart posture and replicate the same mentality and do it in your own life. This is what I do, to see the ups and the downs, to walk it all out. And so I'm going to try to be a lot more intentional about doing this here soon and falling back in love in that way. And so, like I said, normally today is my Sabbath. Normally this is a day where I just sit down and really relax and not do anything. But like I said, even in my Sabbath, I felt like I've been very void of God. Like, I will still pray. I'll still separate from trading. I'll still, spend a little bit of time in my prayer closet. But the entire day, I honestly wouldn't really share with God like that. I would just sit back, watch TV, watch a movie, watch whatever would come on. And I wanted to stop and take a moment to reset and acknowledge my shortcomings. And so today I chose to, I guess, void my Sabbath, but here I am talking about God and sitting here sharing this moment and being honest and saying, like, hey, like, I haven't been giving my best and I haven't been intentional with that. And so I want to take the time to reset and start over. And so, like I said, I have a couple of books right there. I'm currently reading The Alchemist. It's one of my favorite books. I'm currently getting ready to start a new back test session later tonight, where I'm really just falling back in love with the charts and trying out some new things, like really testing out my intuition and really building that up higher and higher and higher. I know my strategy works. I know that I'm capable of being a successful, consistent, profitable day trader. I've passed my current prop challenge. I'm still funded. I'm still in the account. I'm down about 5%, which I'll talk about a little bit more later tonight. But we've been in this account for a while now, and we're only down because the market's consolidating right now. So the market's not really committing the way that I want to. But we've been able to maintain and sustain this. And I want to talk about these things. I want to go a lot deeper in that and figure out some other stuff, like going on walks. Like, I don't know, but I just want to document more of myself. And I don't know what that's going to look like quite yet, but we're going to figure it out. And sharing other things that I do. Like, for example, last year, something that I learned was in Hebrews. I went through discipleship, and in that discipleship, our principle 12, I want to say, was I will be spiritually mature and not emotionally attached. You see, for me, myself, I struggle with sexual immorality, and I don't want to just say lust, because lust is so much greater than just sex, but I struggle with that in that way. And something that the Lord helped me to do to help combat that and stay disciplined in this area was he took me to Hebrews 12. In Hebrews 12, it talks about how you have yet to shed blood and the resistance to sin and temptation. Anytime, even for yourselves, whatever that may be, where you're falling short and you're easily distracted, it's because of a lack of vision. And so God had me set a new vision in this area that looked like me pursuing becoming a husband and me committing specifically to making voice memos to my future wife, which might sound insane, but just follow me here. So when I made that video a couple of weeks ago, I talked about how it was a moment of accountability. I had to sit down, I had to document, hey, I slipped and fell short in this area. This is why, this is what happened, but this is what I'm going to do to go forward, right? But if I have a vision set, if I'm considering falling short or falling into the sin or having sex, whatever it may be, the first thought that comes into my mind is the vision. And so for me, because I make memos every other day or every couple of days, at the end of the night, I have to come home and I have to make this memo and I have to admit these things, because if I don't, number one, that means I'm lying. Number two, that means I'm not a trustworthy man. And number three, I'm not an honorable man, a man of which is after God's own heart. I'm not honoring the Lord, I'm not honoring my wife, and I'm not honoring my vision, the vision that the Lord has given me. And I refuse to be those things. And so I'm gonna be accountable. And so if I don't want to have to admit these things, I'm not gonna fall into that sin. And so I make those memos to my future wife to help me be accountable. And so in moments where I do fall short, like I did a couple of weeks ago, the first thing that I did when I got home is I prayed, I repented to the Lord, and I made the memo, I repented to her, even though I'm not married in this moment. It's documented. And then the next morning I got up and I made that video, and so I want to treat this with that same level of depth, that same level of intentionality, and that same level of love, because I'm not doing this out of fear. I'm doing this out of pure love, and because I genuinely love and I'm passionate about this and I'm obsessive over this. And so I want to be more intentional about documenting that and showing all of it. So yeah, but I think I'm gonna be just about finishing up cleaning the kitchen right about now. But yeah, it's gonna be a good day. It's already a great day, and I have a couple other things I want to get done today. But yeah, currently waiting for my people to join the Zoom. My boy Landon, Chris, and we're about to hop on a Zoom and do a little bit of trading talk. So it's cool because I met Landon over a year ago, and me and him would hop on a Zoom, talk about trading, go back and forth. He's helped me out. He's helped me out a lot in my strategy, and I him. So it's gonna be a really cool moment because Kristen will get to experience the banter between both myself and Landon. But there's a little bit of BTS behind this. Do some nice trading stuff, and yeah, see what happens. Good stop loss placements.
Dude, my stop loss is 120 pips.
Sheesh. No, and so like for me, I like to think in probability. If I have a winning, even if I've lost 5 trades in a row, probability states that the more you lose, the more likely you are to win. That's something that he talks about. Mark Douglas talked about. And so for me,
that Muslim guy I showed you.
Yeah, that video you had sent. Yeah, exactly. So he talked about it as well. Now, what happens if on those 5 trades you were risking 2-3%, right? That's 10 to 15% loss, and now you scale down to 1 to 2%, and you finally catch a 1 to 5. Instead of you being up in profit, you either at break even or slightly below because you crippled your winner. You know, in the same way with scaling in, or I'm sorry, not scaling in the same way with taking partials, you cripple your winners. So if you get in at 1% and you have a trade that's a 1 to 3 and you take 0.5% out halfway there, instead of you catching a full 3% gain, you're maybe only catching 2. I don't know the math, I can't do it off the top. Today is the 26th of August. I just got done filming a Zoom, or not filming, but was just on a Zoom call with Kristen and Landon. We had a great session, just did a little bit of back and forth, talk like that. But I want to go over my trades and just over the market because I've been funded for, I want to say almost 2 months now, and I'm currently down about 5% overall on the account. However, this is the BS I've been having to deal with. So as soon as I got funded, I want to say early July. So around here, around this candle, around this engulfing candle right here, right? So this is when I got funded. Chill, took a break for a second. I've had to deal with everything to the right of this. And this is GJ. This is my favorite pair. I'm very successful on GJ. And for me to not be successful on GJ is absolutely comical. And it's hilarious, but that just goes to speak to the current market conditions. But price has just essentially just been moving sideways. It broke out. I finally thought it broke out. I was like, okay, cool. We're going to get a nice retest, respect the 197.5, continue back down. Nope, came all the way back, made a new high. And it's still consolidating, and I'll talk about this trade here in a minute, but same thing with UJ. Price was, where was I at? Price was actually over here. I had a win. I actually had a UJ winner. I think it was right here. This winning trade here, but price came back down. It's been consolidating all of August. No breakouts, no nothing. Same with EJ. Same with EJ. Price has just been moving to the right. And these are my best pairs. These are my best pairs right now. And it's just hilarious. So it's just a game of waiting and sustaining and maintaining. So if I can maintain being at break even or just slightly below break even, we'll be good, or even slightly in profit, because I have made some mistakes this funded challenge, especially with GA. I made a couple mistakes, but I've also had a couple winners with GA. I had a winner, I want to say this buy up, I had a winning trade here. This breakout all the way up to about up here, I had a winning trade. And then I had a winning position here, but I prematurely closed that trade before it could push up and wick up. So just a couple mistakes. Like I said, I could have done a lot better on that very specific trade, because it was a great entry. It was a beautiful entry, but You know, I made a couple mistakes, and mistakes are okay, but too many mistakes can be a hindrance. Like this was literally that trade. I got out. I got in right here, price pulled back, and I got out as soon as it pulled back just because of things that I was seeing. I didn't recognize this double top because this is FXCM, not Forex.com. The Forex.com charts look a lot better. But I got out. This trade goes all the way up and hits TP. If I capitalize on that trade, I'm at break even. Actually, I'd be 2% in profit right now, but we didn't. So yeah, and then that current GJ trade, I didn't record it last week, but I got into GJ last week, and like I was saying, GJ's it's been breaking my heart, man. Price pushed all the way down, came back up. You see this 4-hour candle. This was a daily close, by the way. Price had a daily close below that consolidation range. So price literally pulls back, closes below, retests, and you see this beautiful, beautiful 4-hour wick, this massive wick to the upside. I enter off of that wick, and price just decided to go all the way up, straight to my stop loss, and continue back. Can't do anything about it. Hakanashi's flip, my entire edge is presented. They didn't want to help me, didn't want to bless me, and that's completely okay. We are traders. This is why we have an edge. I know my edge works. The same way I know that that's one of my favorite pairs. It's my best pair. Sometimes it's not though. It's all good. But this is the last trade that I took. Very similar structure, I want to say. So, am I able to do this from down here? I guess not. Oh, hold up. Let's try this. Bar replay. No, it's not there. So I got in off of this 4-hour candle. Price had engulfed. So price broke down, pushed back up, creates a lower high right in here. I enter off of that lower high, and my stop loss was a little tight. Normally I do about 10 to 20 pip stop losses, or stop losses above the previous high or low. This time around, I chose to do 15, but when I was getting into the trade, something did say to do 20. But there was an hourly candle right here where price wicked all the way back up. Actually got about a pip away from my TP, and now it's pulled back and consolidated. However, I did get stopped out here on Trade Locker. And so honestly, as far as these yen pairs go, I'm just gonna sit on my hands. I don't have any setups currently. I need a legitimate breakout. I need price to break below what level is this? The 198, 250. I need price to break below that level or break above the 200 level for GJ. I showed the same for UJ. I mean, like I said, I have that range already identified. It is right there. I need price to break clear above, retest, continue, or break below, retest, continue. Either way, same with EJ. Truly don't care which direction it goes. I either need a break below, retest, break down, or a break above, retest, continuation. GA, I don't know if price ever wants to pull back. If it continues down, that's fine. I can move this Fibonacci down to here, let price come down, retest up to here somewhere before continuing back down to probably this level there. But either way, we're chilling. But yeah, that's been the markets for me as of recently. But yeah. All right, so early in the video, I talked about how I really do enjoy reading. And one of the things that I read, which is in this book, The Way of the Superior Man, that really sparked me wanting to bring my heart back into this, was something that I read from this book. And I wanted to end this video with rereading what it was that he wrote. And so in the 8th chapter of the 1st section, he said, "Lean just beyond your edge. In any given moment, a man's growth is optimized if he leans just beyond his edge, his capacity, his fear. He should not be too lazy, happily stagnating in the zone of security and comfort. Nor should he push far beyond his edge, stressing himself unnecessarily, unable to metabolize his experience. He should lean just slightly beyond the edge of fear and discomfort, constantly in everything he does." That edge piece specifically speaks to everything that we do trading wise. Even this idea of the obsessive opportunist was created from me wanting to push just beyond my my bounds, what I knew my boundaries were, to go just beyond that and really see what I was capable of becoming. Even in the concept of making these videos, of talking about trading, of doing these things, I just want to see what it is that the Lord placed inside of me, what it is I'm capable of doing, and enjoy the process, enjoy it. Like I said, not stressing myself out, but having what they call good stress, enjoying the pursuit, enjoying the chase, enjoying the hunt. Like I said, in trading, like it sucks seeing the market go left and right, but what I do know is the moment that the market wants to open up and make a move up or make a move down, I'm gonna be right there to capture it. The same way I'm gonna do with reading these books and taking and receiving these perspectives, same way I'm gonna be trying to do with making these videos. And so that's the whole idea of what it is I want to try to do, and I want to stay consistent with doing this. So thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate it. I'm going to try to continue to just add little things like this, but yeah, thank you, and see you next week.